Hello guys and welcome to another video of Sportbit's YouTube channel. So today we are here to analyze another football game. So the match in focus is Liverpool versus Napoli in the match day 6 fixture of the UEFA Champions League. So as we all know the result, Liverpool, the home team, won the game by a goal margin. Uh, that's what they exactly needed to qualify for the last 16 stage of this competition. So they got the job done, even though they had many other chances to score the second and the third goal to make it more comfortable for them, especially because knowing the fact that if Napoli score one away goal, Liverpool have to beat them by a clear two-goal margin. So anyway, that doesn't matter now. Liverpool won the game. They deserve to win the game. They deserve to win the game by a much wider margin than they have, but still they have done well in a pressure game at home in a European tie. As we all know, the Anfield factor comes into play whenever there's a European night in as well, and the players stepped up to the mark and really performed well when it was required. So we will tactically analyze the game. We will look at the formations with which both teams started their games. Liverpool with their reverted back to the 4-3-3 formation, which they have used most often in the European games. So they had Alisson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Matip, Van Dijk, and Robertson as a back five, goalkeeper and a back four. Henderson, Milner, and Wijnaldum were the three midfielders, and the front three of Salah, Firmino, and Mane were there. For Napoli, they had Ospina in goal. They had Maximovic, Raul Albiol, Koulibaly, and Mario Rui as their backline. They had a midfield too of Marek Hamsik and Alan, the Brazilian midfielder. And they had two wide players, Jose Callejon and Fabian Ruiz. And they had the two frontmen, Lorenzo Insigne and Dries Mertens. So how the game panned out, it's an interesting battle, because whenever we talk about big games, big European games, or in league also, we always talk about the midfield battle. And again, Liverpool nailed it by having three midfielders in the setup. I think Klopp nailed it by having three midfielders in the setup. See, again, the two players, the two midfielders of Napoli got overrun time and time again by the three midfielders of Liverpool. Like you see. So, uh, so the combination of Alan and Hamsik tried to play the ball, tried to be more inventive with the ball, but and they tried to always try to pass out from the back through the lines. But the three midfielders of Liverpool were always very active, and they always outrun and outnumber these two in the middle central region of the field. So the other mistake, which I think the first mistake was playing with a midfielder. He could have brought either of Fabian Ruiz or Jose Callejon to tuck in more and help out the two midfielders. But these two guys were more wide in the game. They were trying to stretch Liverpool's defense, but in the end, Liverpool's central dominance was too much for Napoli at times. The other mistake were made by Carlo Ancelotti, the Napoli manager, was to play with the two strikers without any physicality. See, Insignia, around 5'1" or 5'2", Dries Mertens also were of a similar height. So if you're playing these two forwards against the likes of Matip and Van Dijk, who are easily 6'3", 6'4", then you can't play long balls. So they try to play through the back via centre backs and full backs making runs, and wide players trying to support the two centre forwards. But the way Liverpool pressed these areas, like these areas and these areas and also these areas, so all the front three pressed very well in the, not very high all the time. They pick the moments, pick the situation where they have to press in certain areas, and the midfield three always had the change against the two midfielders of Napoli. So as a result, the likes of Fabian Ruiz and Jose Callejon were not able to get on the ball and onto the ball in wide areas and trying to feed it to the likes of Dries Mertens and Lorenzo Insigne. So that was a first bit of mistake by Carlo Ancelotti, and the first bit of good work done by Liverpool. They were very high in pressing, not in terms of positionally high. They were very high in terms of picking the right moments and picking where Napoli had the ball. Napoli, whenever they had the ball in these situations, the press was always on the higher side in this. They were not waiting for them to come in these areas and then they will press. They were always here. They were always pressing in these areas. Midfielders joining with the front three and always helping out the pressing. And I think that's why Napoli weren't able to create many chances, and Liverpool had plenty of chances. especially coming from the two fullbacks, Andy Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold. These two were superb yesterday. Andy Robertson has had 81 touches, and Alexander-Arnold has, I think, 91 to 92 touches, which just epitomizes the running these two do on both sides of the pitch. They constantly move up and down the pitch. See, the way Callahan and Fabian Ruiz were operating in the game, they're not getting much of the surface. So the half the time they were chasing runs from Alexander Arnold and Robertson making forwards, and with Sadio Mane and Salah tucking in between the spaces of the centre back and a full back. These two had a free run against the Napoli wide men, and they created a lot of chances from wide areas, especially Robertson, who was, I think he was in the third to fourth gear from minute one and didn't come down until the 90th minute. So he was absolutely fantastic. His runs were very mesmerizing in the final third. The recovery runs were very important from these two fullbacks as well. Whenever these two Napoli wide players tried to get onto the ball and run at the fullbacks, they made the recovery runs, they made the tackles, they made the required tackles and interception to stop any attempts of the away side creating a goal scoring opportunity or something. So the Liverpool's only goal came through Milner having a ball in this area of the field and then fed through Mohamed Salah in between Mario Rui and Koulibaly. But it was Salah of the old. The way Salah created space for himself, he rolled out Napoli's left back as if he was not present, and then he created the 1v1 situation. So here was Salah and here was Koulibaly. So he created a 1v1 situation, rolling out the left back out of the equation. So then the one shuffle past Koulibaly and the defender was squared. That was very good technique by Salah to shuffle past. I think one of the most impressive centre backs in the world right now, Koulibaly. So the way he got past the Senegalese was very impressive. So then he had a one-on-one chance. The angle was almost like very tight. He came around this situation, but I think it was a little mistake by David Ospina. He anticipated that the Egyptian would cut the ball back into the 6-yard box with Firmino and Mane waiting. But the Egyptian, Salah, was very clever. He went with the right foot ball and simultaneously, yeah, Ospina left his near post a bit. So Salah tried to poke it towards the near post, and in the end, the ball went through the goalkeeper's legs. So it was a slight mistake from the goalkeeper anticipating the cutback very early into this situation, and then Salah was very clever to understand that anticipation and then look to feed the ball into the net directly into the near post. Eventually, the ball went through the keeper's leg, so that doesn't matter. The goal was very nicely made up by Salah himself and finished up by himself as well. So in the second half, I think this was I think we explained the whole situation of the game, how it went through, and especially after the hour mark when Napoli tried to have more of the ball, they tried to create more of the chances. It came from wide areas. So once Napoli tried to break through the Liverpool press, they had chances, but it was very minimal. I think they had 4 to 5 chances throughout the game, while Liverpool had around 18 to 20 attempts on goal, despite not having many of them on target, but they created many chances. They should have scored more. Napoli had, I think, 4 to 5 chances with 1 or 2 on target, and those are all coming from wide areas. So once the game got stretched in after the 70th minute mark, when we all knew that, okay, Liverpool's second goal won't make much difference because one goal of Napoli will eventually send them out anyway. So Liverpool were in a little bit of a catch-22 situation. Klopp tried to secure this right-hand side because Ancelotti made a clever change by removing Fabian Rui and bringing on Holam as their first choice left back, and he was very penetrative down the left hand side. He was very aggressive. And I think Trent Alexander-Arnold felt the heat after the 75th minute a bit, and eventually he was injured around the 98th minute mark. So Golam's runs were very effective on the left hand side. He was putting in some good crosses, and then Salah wasn't really tracking him back. So it was a clever substitution by Jurgen Klopp to bring Keita on for Firmino and put Salah as a centre forward and Keita in his position, so at least Keita can track the runs of the Napoli left back and help out Alexander-Arnold and Milner or Wijnaldum in these areas of the pitch. So Ancelotti learned his fate by uh, learned his fate of putting two very small, heighted centre forwards by bringing in Milik, who has good physicality. He's 6 foot plus, the Polish striker, but he came on a little late. To be honest, he impacted the game though when he in the last 15 minutes. The best chance of the game for Napoli went to him as well when Alisson made a very good save in the 92nd minute around this area. But we saw a different Napoli when Milic was there. The Napoli centre backs were able to bypass the Liverpool press and put the ball directly towards the Polish striker, who were winning the headers once or twice. So it was very reactive the way Ancelotti made the changes, but he should have started with Milik, to be honest. And Klopp also reacted by bringing in Fabinho, an extra height in the central midfield area to support the likes of Henderson and Gini Wijnaldum, and Fabinho won few 2 to 3 good headers later in the game to not allow Napoli have that height advantage when I think the likes of Koulibaly also went forward and later in the game. So that's it from the tactical section of this game, tactical explanation of this game. I think we covered all the aspects: how Liverpool's midfield overrun the Napoli midfield, how Liverpool's fullbacks were very aggressive throughout the game, pushing the Napoli wide men and their fullbacks back all the time. How Liverpool's front three pressed and helped out the midfield in not allowing Napoli to play through the midfield. And we also touched upon what the mistakes Napoli made in the game, which eventually cost them the place in the knockout stage of the Champions League. So that's it from the tactical section of Liverpool versus Napoli. Hope you enjoyed the video. And if you enjoyed the video, please smash the like button and subscribe to the Sportbits YouTube channel for more videos like this in the future. Thanks a lot.